Last founding father of psychology in Unit 1 is Carl Rogers. And I think we'll do this one all in one lesson. I don't think I'll break this one up because it's going to be pretty fast, but we're moving into more modern times. So grab your slot notes. Let's do it. All right. Birth, 1902, death, 1987. So you can see we're moving closer and closer to more modern times, and really kind of the golden age of psychology in terms of like ideas that actually we still use today. He's an American psychologist, and of course, he's going to establish a psychological school that is very, very popular still today, and it's called humanism or psychotherapy. This is like the classic, meeting with a psychologist and where you discuss, life and go through it. It's very, very classic sort of idea. He rejected, by the way, behaviorism, which, by the way, is still widely used, especially when it comes to children with autism. He rejected behaviorism. He didn't like it. And the psychoanalytic approach, the Freudian approaches, which is not very popular today. Almost nobody is a Freudian in the sense that they're, trying to interpret dreams and stuff. And he said that both of them were dehumanizing. So that's pretty harsh criticism. The behaviorists really take offense to that because they're still around and they're very, very, people are behaviorists, especially when it comes to children and autism. They're pretty hardcore belief in it. So yeah, of course, it wasn't used as widely maybe with children with autism in back in Carl Rogers' day. So maybe he'd have a different viewpoint now. All right, so that's the kind of introduction here. So humanism or psychotherapy, like classic psychotherapy. He called his approach person-centered or client-centered. Person-centered or client-centered. That's his focus. And the now typical counseling sessions with clients, I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about going in there and you don't have necessarily the agenda that you have. It's all about listening to the client and helping them through issues and whatnot. His research, because of its focus on client and centered or person centered, his research has influenced interpersonal and cross cultural relations, like how to deal with people from different cultures, and that's being sensitive to the differences that they have, and also interpersonal skills. Being able to relate to others is about thinking about them first, so that way you don't offend. And so his approach kind of has that overlap. Um, Rogers introduced the concepts of empathic understanding, whereas you accept, whatever the problem is without judging person. So that's acceptance. And then unconditional positive regard. Unconditional positive regard is something that, as you see in the picture, that doctors, nurses, medical personnel, they have unconditional positive regard. Like they're not judging you and criticizing you. They may gently, make a suggestion, but it's very positive, and this is known as bedside manner. And there's actually something interesting in literature about desk side manner when it comes to teachers and how they treat children. But I don't know that it's taken off very well. But I think it's fairly legit stuff, actually. The idea of desk side manner and how your approach to children probably has a lot to do with whether they accept your teaching. But in this case, like Rogers' ideas have been widely accepted in the medical field in terms of how you treat patients. Um, and this is important. I guess we're gonna move on from that. I'm not sure that I'll come back to that. And he also studied personality theory, human relations, and how to help students and patients in fields such as education and in medicine. And so that's the kind of thing. So he was big into personality theory, which we'll get into in another unit. Human relations, again, that's very cross-cultural type human relations, and then education and medicine because of his ability to talk about how we interact with others. All right, and let's just end with that article that we had here. Let me go back to that. You can pause if you need to finish out writing. All right, let's go back to that. So nearly half of Americans report feeling alone. Only around half of Americans, 53%, say they have meaningful daily face-to-face social interactions, including an extended conversation with a friend or spending quality time with family. So like like the problem of being alone and not being able to interact with other humans is a real problem in our society today, and is only enhanced during a pandemic. And Rogers' whole point of his was like having effective communication with other humans and positive communication with other humans, so that way everyone would kind of feel better. A recent survey of 20,000 adults found that nearly half of people suffer from feelings of loneliness. The evaluation of loneliness was measured by an often used score of 43 or higher on the University of California, Los Angeles Loneliness Scale, a 20-item questionnaire developed to measure feelings of loneliness and social isolation. Social isolation and social media go hand in hand. People who spent most of the time on social media had twice the odds of having a greater perceived social isolation. Let me just talk about that really quick. So, like dealing with humans together, like when you're dealing with humans all the time, that actually means that you don't feel lonely. But if you're instead on social media where you're not really dealing with real humans, that'll make you feel lonely actually being on quote unquote social media. And so you really have to be careful and try to interact with human beings, because that's actually your solution to loneliness, which I think we kind of knew that. It was more obvious probably in the time Carl Rogers was around. He died in 87, but now I think we've missed that. We think social media means we're socializing, and in reality, we're really not. So, anyway, Rogers' idea of positive regard and interacting with cross-cultural people and different and human relations is an important concept that we still need today. All right, great. We're done. That's Carl Rogers. Read over it a couple times, and then you're going to do practice on him.